Haven't come up with any tag. So I'm guessing that you should go and start the grant that you have these three on here tonight. Is that true? The one from the Clean Education Program from NYSERDA? Yes, yeah. Yeah. I said you're clearly doing Clean Energy Communities program. I can tell by the agenda. Good for you. That's awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome.
What I realized today when I was looking through it is that this counts as
It
one of our top
does count,
10.
but I can talk about why we probably don't want to count it. Because it may not be cheaper to have 100% renewable. Believe me, I'm working with the state on changing
Oh, it has to.
qualification. It has to be 100% renewable. Yeah.
Does it really?
Yes, which, believe me, the state's like, why isn't anyone doing this? And I was like, because you made it make no sense. They were like, well, what would make sense? I hear that. It's like 25%
To us, electric car charging.
Yeah, there you go. That's okay. The DEC got grants for that one. That's like
Okay.
one of the easy checkbox ones.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have one of the clean energy coordinators working with you?
Amanda out of Central New York.
Okay, right, she just changed from, okay, they just had her.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Good, well, at least she found you, that's awesome.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Excellent.
Although I'll pick your brain on more things
Yeah,
about.
you're welcome to, absolutely.
You missed us,
I'm
right?
here to take notes for that.
All right. First we have to start the public hearing, right? What? Yeah, it's hot. Oh, you're hot, then I know it's hot. Okay. That's easy. Yep. First piece of cake. Should we do the pledge first, or should we? Yeah, that's fine. All right. I'd like to call to order if we could, folks. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. You guys can all silence your phones, too. I appreciate it. So the first thing that we have is the public hearing on the front end loader for the DPW. We need to transfer money from reserves. Yeah.
Okay. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held by the Village of Homer Board of Trustees on Wednesday, June 14, 2017 at 6 p.m. or as soon thereafter as the parties may be heard. The Village of Homer Community Building located at 45 South Main Street, Homer, New York, for the purpose of appropriating $60,030 from the Machinery Reserve Fund, Special Reserve, to machinery equipment for the purchase of a Mildred Cat loader.
All right. I offer the privilege of the floor. If anyone would like to comment on that.
You buying a front end loader for $68,000?
No, that's how much we have to transfer from reserves to. You wanted to know where you could get one for that much?
Yeah, I
Me
can go
too.
buy one for that.
Yeah, we could go into business together and
Yes, we
start
could.
flipping them. Anyone? All right, hearing none. I will close the public hearing at 6:02. Let's say 6:03. All right, and now we can go into our regular meeting. All right, looks like we've got some minutes to approve first off. Got to approve it right now.
Looks like the changes were made. I make a motion that we approve the April 4th minutes.
favor?
Aye.
Passed. Okay, so April 4th. May 2nd.
I just saw that there's one typo, I already mentioned it to Kaylee, so barring that, I make a motion to pass the minutes once corrected.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So move to the next one. Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Easy peasy. Moving right along here. Treasurer's report.
Any issues with it? I'll make the motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Gentlemen have all been in to sign the bills?
Was?
I had some questions on a couple of them, I sticky noted those, but all the other ones. We can make a motion to authorize the bills and afterwards, the rest that need the initial, we can do that.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we authorize payment of the bills.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Okey doke. Let's start with cemetery report.
Cemetery crew did a great job for Memorial Day,
Mm-hmm.
especially getting it ready for the rain.
The only other thing I have to offer is a gentleman who lives in North Carolina, who has a relative that has bought the cemetery, came to visit. And he just came in and talked to the person, and just wanted me to know, there's always, you know, what a great job those guys.
They really
Which
did.
I thought was pretty good.
I make a motion to accept the cemetery report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Once again. Codes.
Craig, anything for the group?
Things are going pretty smooth. We got family helping out with bunches of decks and garage and things like that. Put out some violation notices, some were cleaned up. Got court case coming up, which everybody always asks about.
I know that one. One thing I was gonna ask you, could you, give us a copy of each violation notice and letter that you sent to each of these people?
I give copies of that.
Oh, you get copies? Yeah, we'll have to look at those at some point. Fantastic, you're ahead of the game. All right. Any other code issues? All right.
Make a motion to accept the codes.
At some point, again, I don't know if you've done this, but well, probably would be a bad idea if the mayor kicked out a note to all board members reminding them that by law they need 4 hours of training every year.
We need 4 hours training?
You're talking about the board of, the
Board
planning board.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yes.
You guys.
Please, yes, I will do that.
We get that one word.
I'll do that as a favor because I signed you up for some training. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okey doke. Did we vote on the codes?
I'll reiterate, I'll make a motion to accept the codes report.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Dogs. What is all this nonsense?
I'll put it out there just in case anybody wasn't aware that the town of Homer is looking to update on, what are they doing, the dog licenses.
survey.
Dog survey, dog census.
Dog census.
Once we find out more about it, we'll make sure we reiterate it.
I don't know if anybody was aware, but it's kind of, it's too late in here. What's there, Turkey Park, really great. A German Shepherd and a place?
The German Shepherd was on a bike?
No. Well, maybe. It was a very talented German Shepherd.
Right. Yeah, I didn't see it in here. They didn't call,
Is that the right case? No, this one says it was on 12 North Fulton. So there's another one in Turkey Park. That might be, was it this month?
It was just 4 days.
Oh, so it'll be in.
Next month's report, yeah. all right, motion to accept dogs,
I'll make it, I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
DPW reports. You guys have been busy.
I talked with Mike today, we're looking at number 6. I know we submitted a grant for trees. I think we just need to double check with Toma to see where
See
we're
where it's
sitting
at.
on that. Because that will affect the planting coming up. Streets patched, tongue twister. Streets patched so far. They've started at the north and are working south, so they've hit Laurel Lane, Sunset, Holly, Prospect Street East, Suits Ave, Greenwich, Rob Sand, the office entrance and the back lot of the fire station, Tobin, Albany Street, from Main to the first bridge, Durwood, Michael and Sumlin Miller, and they've got more to go, but as you know, it's kind of dependent upon the weather. So as the weather improves, they'll be able to get more out. For those that are concerned about Durkee, Durkee is going to be shimmed up to raise it up higher so it won't flood so easily.
Other comments or questions on the streets and the DPW report?
I make a motion to accept the report.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right. Fire inspector. Good. Fire
Part
department.
days went really well.
What now? You, hey, I didn't say fire
I
department.
gotta leave
Yeah.
it. I got some good food to eat.
Yeah? All right, now we're on the fire
You're
department.
all good.
Tim, would you like to say something about the fire department?
Just the field days went really well. Like, I think the village was paving before the field days. Everybody thought they were gonna, counties were gonna ruin the blacktop, but obviously you can see they didn't.
Yeah, looks good. All look good.
What do you think of the police department? Wasn't me doing your job, Thank the police department for being on hand like usual, they do a good job. Everybody came out.
Good. Did you get a total on how you did?
I'll let you know tomorrow. Our warden, our meeting's tomorrow, and he'll have a report tomorrow, so he says we're a little bit ahead of last year.
Good.
The weather cooperated very well. I don't know, we had some hooligan come flying through the motorcycle, was supposed to be here about 5 o'clock, we left him in the trade.
He was lost. He was very
I'll
lost.
keep those comments to myself. I heard they're gonna shoot him. What we really wanna do is hang your back your motorcycle in the back of the ladder truck.
Hey, whatever you guys want to do next time, I'm ready for it. So we got the report from Malin here.
Fire department did a great job over the past couple storms that we had. I say averaged over 25 calls on each storm.
They were very busy doing those. I listened to the radio during those storms and I could hear you guys on it. Going from incident to incident to incident. You guys did a great job as always. One of the things in here, sorry, your thunder, if you were, as Malin requested a list of all the vacant structures within the village.
Well, let's catch up with Craig before he sneaks out here.
He's
Sneaking out there.
on his way.
I think, yeah, he took his glasses off, we can't recognize him.
Yeah.
I think we should get Craig and Malin together, and then they can go over the current list of the vacant structures and get a better feel for them, so we can placard them, make it safer for our firemen. More to follow. I'll coordinate for you and Malin, and we'll get together.
I don't think there's that many anymore. I think they've really been knocked down substantially.
Yeah, it's definitely reduced, but I know some of them don't have the placards on there, and we'll probably address that.
Bank possessed or one thing or another.
Yeah.
Well, that's all, yeah. More like placards. We also have to figure out about going and inspecting 501.
I can talk about that directly.
Very good. Any other comments on fire?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Police. Chief, you want to say anything?
No issues over the field days, they went extremely well and great well. So, they're doing good.
Good.
Make a couple comments on our surveillance RFP. It's been issued. It'll be due end of June 30th. I personally sent it out to 7 different vendors, and it's in the paper. There may be additional vendors. The chief has got a copy of it and knows other people that maybe that you and I haven't met. You can send it to anybody you want. And so we're looking forward to that end of the month. So hopefully we'll get some cameras in for our parks and things like that.
And I had a call on that, who should the person talk to walk to?
Me, I've been doing them.
Okay.
And the chief and I do it, yeah, definitely get it, sooner the better.
Yeah, you must get rid of this.
Yeah, please, yeah. So I'll make the motion to accept the report as written.
I'll second.
I just want, Chief, so we got the bike patrol out now?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Today we did a media release on our bike patrol. Starting next week, we'll probably be seeing 3 shifts, 3 4-hour shifts during the evening time. So we're concentrating on, Main Street areas, the parks, some of the neighborhoods in between, so. Portland areas, Portland Area Communities of Care has provided us extra funding to supplement this patrol, so I'd like to thank them.
That's
That's nice.
fantastic, yes.
So we got a motion, we've got a second.
All in favor?
Aye. Talk briefly about recreation now.
Hmm? Yeah, that's one that. Hmm? Hmm? No? Yeah. We'll talk.
Okay.
That's the outcome of the executive session.
All right.
So, let's see. Water and sewer report. In addition to this, they sent a representative with me to meet with Bruce Adams. We're going to do the GIS mapping project through Susan Portland. We're going to map all the water and sewer lines, but they also will map the streets, roads, sidewalks, power lines, other utility lines, cable lines, trees, all through this. It's all free. It's students that'll do it, and they'll use very accurate GPS things to put it all in, and then we'll have the maps at the end of it. Free.
That's nice.
So,
Did everybody hear that? Awesome.
What's the length of the time it's going to take?
probably a year. Yeah, I think it's, they'll probably send 2 or 3. It took them a year and a half to do the city of Portland. So, you figure probably too much for one semester. And I think they had four students each semester for all 3 semesters to do the city of Portland. So. All right. Anything else on water and sewer?
I'll make the motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Privilege of the floor. Anybody like to speak? Paul?
Just a question on the signs that were put up by the psychic from Syracuse. Were those approved that are on the poles up on 281 and Route 11? And if so, who did that?
I approved them because I get a free psychic reading. No, I'm just
They were
kidding.
one step ahead.
No, we did not obviously approve them.
Can we get those taken down?
Yeah.
As far as I know,
Are those the ones that are,
nobody's supposed to have on power poles.
are those the ones that are,
Correct.
Anybody,
None.
yeah, they're not allowed, but
They
they have
have
power
power
pole.
pole.
yeah,
They
so that's,
did it illegally.
Even,
I'm sure
even
they
Bob's Barbecue is not allowed.
Right.
so to answer your question, Paul, no, we didn't, and no, they're not supposed to be there, so they can come down.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll ask the guys to do those down.
Tim, can you do that, or is that?
No, we can do that.
All right, awesome.
You on sign patrol now?
No.
Okay. Anyone else like to speak? Yes.
Can I just ask where we are with the town hall village moving back?
Yep, it's actually on the agenda, under old business, but we'll start now. So, the town wants to make some changes. And they had an architect do a first run, at it, and we provided feedback, and they provided feedback, and they've gone back to the architect and asked for changes. So we have been ready to move in since the day that I was sworn in. We're ready to go right now. They want changes that they are going to be paying for, not us. So we're sort of waiting on them. So. that's
Do
where
we
we're at.
know who's going to be where?
That's part of the discussion.
And
Mr. Chair.
with that, decisions were made to not accept the grant to purchase. And so that was totally off, but we still don't have things set with the town hall.
Well, no, I mean, we're going, it's just a matter of when they're ready for us. If they wanna make renovations, that's up to them. They're doing it with our
Because I saw in
input.
the paper, the stage area, and that had been covered with birds' bat excretion.
That won't be us.
Okay. I don't think anybody should be out there.
And is it handicap accessible? Did you ride in your wheelchair around the
Not
building?
as of yet, but I will.
That's one of the things
I
that's,
think
That's
I'm
what the
embarrassed as a
architect's
village
working
member,
on.
but
He has that.
They're taking that into consideration when they were doing the designs, and that was one of the things that we were very explicit about when they make those designs. The issues of handicap accessibility are covered. The issue of where people go is not.
that's the only variable.
That's the variable right
But it
there.
all has to pass ADA compliance inspection.
And what will happen if they come back and they say, you know what, it's too much money, the town isn't equipped to spend this kind of money on these renovations, you guys need to figure something else out?
There is a range of costs. We told them where we sit, they know where they sit.
What do you mean where we sit? Because we can't put any money into that building.
Exactly. They know our position, okay? They know their funds and what they have available. We told them that whatever renovations that they want to do above and beyond, that's great for them, but it's not on us. We're working together very well, the two organizations. It just takes a little bit of time because we have three organizations that we're trying to work with, okay? So it's progressing smoothly. We both did not agree with the architect's first draft, so we sent it back, and that's where we're at right now.
Can I ask why, it's just a curious question, why would the town decide to pay for renovations for the village? Why would they foot the cost? Why did they decide to do that on charity?
No, because there's a bunch of reasons. One,
Okay.
they wanted to make some renovations to.
Anyways.
They decided that if we're gonna do this, one of the aspects, they said, if we're gonna make renovations anyways, let's do it right. They don't wanna piecemeal this. The other thing too is they understand that we're also town residents. We are their constituents as well.
And they have a fund for renovations or?
No, their finances are their finances, but they have a good amount of
They
money.
haven't shared that information with you, they just,
How much money they have?
how much money they have?
No, but I
I
know
have a
that it's
pretty
quite
good
a
idea.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of our village tax money goes to the town.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well,
we
as residents.
as
yeah.
residents of the town, we pay for it as well.
Yeah, so.
But no, they've got enough to cover.
So when they come back with, because obviously you're in a renovation stage again, when they come back with those findings, those plans, will you share that with the village, excuse me, the community members?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Before you- okay.
Also, they had a meeting at the town about it, that anybody can go to those, and they had the plans there.
Right, oh,
I
So-
can't.
Okay.
I can't
Right,
go into the building, and
Okay.
so I need it shared at a
Okay.
meeting where I can,
All right.
either at the village office or here, but
Okay.
I need it where I can see it because of,
That after this,
Yeah.
I should have my.
The next iteration that we get from the architect, we'll share it, we'll have copies at the village offices, and we'll throw it up on the website.
that's what bothers me the most. I've been an active part of the community, and with it moving back there, I can't. and so I'm getting that taken away from me. And I know I'm only one, but I know I'm not the only one that could be affected.
You're still important to us.
Yeah.
When you kicked back to the architect, did you kick back that center hall?
Center
That they
hall
wanted to
is
do?
mandatory.
That's a ton of money to do that from the structure in that building.
There was a couple different things, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Paul, go ahead.
No, that's what I was just curious, when you said you went back to the architect, if that was one of the main things that was brought up, because that's big money in terms of changing that building.
Yeah, you're dealing with all,
I didn't see the plan.
nothing's,
I'm just read.
nothing's load bearing that you're changing, so you're just kind of moving around drywall.
Right.
So they could get away with it then? Because that would be a big thing, money-wise.
Interior, there are no, those aren't load-bearing walls. The only thing that those are supporting is the drop ceiling.
Yeah, but, yeah, that's, I think the center hallway is one of the mandatory things to make it compliant.
Right.
So if they can't, that's back to my original question then, what if they come back and they say, we're not going to do all these renovations, we can't fiscally afford it, we don't want to fiscally afford it, we don't want to do it, then what's your plan?
There's another option where they make minimal changes and we go back
Without
As
the
it
center
is.
hall?
without a center hall.
I thought you
And
just said that was mandatory.
If you make enough changes, then yes, you have to do it, but if you don't change it, we're happy to move in as it sits right now, don't even want it painted, that's fine. But if they wanna make changes, it's up to them.
Okay, you as mayor, when we were up there before, the way the elevator went, it funneled the people through the mayor's office, coming in through behind folks working. If they came through the boardroom, they were coming in behind the people working there. So
Right.
you weren't having direct, you were having people, or they were coming through the mayor's office, and all of the handicap parking for the people that needed the elevator was up in front of the building. So people were having to get out of the cars, go all the way to the back of the building, go up the elevator, and then all the way back to the front. And
We
when
can-
we moved down here, people came in and said, this is so much easier.
that what we talked to them about is they would move the handicap spaces to the back by the elevators.
Okay, just, I know what the situation was.
And it didn't make
And I
me,
worked with it,
Yeah.
and it was
We-
not comfortable.
we mentioned that and they agreed, and they said they put the handicap spaces back by the elevators. It just, no matter what, that just makes sense anyways.
It didn't make sense.
Where they are now, it doesn't make sense, no.
That's an easy fix.
Is the floor still open? Because I have another question. This one pertains to the office staff. Kaylee is there full-time, and Kristen, correct? Is she full-time also? And we had a clerk, and now we don't have a clerk? So Kaylee's doing the brunt of the work since she's the only one who knows what's happening in the office. Has she been given a raise? Has she been compensated for that?
Yeah.
What will happen when you hire a clerk? Will she still be able to keep her raise?
Yes, she will. We gave her a raise because of all that she's done, and this is her second time through a transition. But when we bring in the third person, which we're in discussions about, we're not gonna reduce her salary. She's a champion for the village.
She is.
You guys are lucky.
I know we are. Anything else? Okay. Very good. Well, we've talked about the town hall. I think we gave a pretty good update on that. All right, new business. We want to approve this resolution that would cover volunteer firefighters.
That's a great idea.
Yep. Any discussion on this?
The discussion I had with Malin on this, because I had a question, because this is presumptive, but then again, if we have folks that are cigarette smokers, that was explained to me that they would be actually exempted from this.
Right.
And I guess the other thing too is what we're actually doing is we're trying to push the state to get off their butts because it's been languishing in committee. And essentially what we're telling them is to, right or wrong, get done with it in committee and put it forward to a vote so it doesn't languish.
Yeah, part of it is if you also have to have served for a certain amount of time, you have to have been in interior fires, things like that. So it's pretty well covered in the both Senate and Assembly bills. So it's just sort of a matter of trying to encourage them to push it along in Albany.
Question? Cigarette smokers, current or ex-cigarette smokers?
That's a good question. And that would probably be presumptive upon a medical inspection prior to,
Of the individual?
of the individual in question.
Uh-huh. You say you issue a resolution compelling New York State Senate, recommending?
Yeah, it's a resolution.
Okay,
You know what they,
I understand.
it's a nice gesture on our part.
Gotcha.
It's about as much water as it carries, but it's, you know,
It's us shaking our fist at them, telling them to get moving.
joining with other municipalities to try to push it along.
And how long has this been pending?
I think it's probably come up, they've probably reintroduced this thing for a couple of years, over and over and over. There's somebody in Albany that doesn't like it, that keeps pushing back on it.
Budgetary, I imagine.
Partly budgetary, partly because they need to figure out some of the finer details, but when there's nobody pushing it along, it can just kick down the road.
Right.
And we already know that, based upon some of the reports, that our firemen face increased levels of these things. So we want them to figure out the details and get something passed so our firemen can be protected.
Good.
Would that come out of village budgets, or would it be state budgets that would pay for it?
That's something that we need to see. But until they get something out, we can't take a look at it.
Because you might want to send the resolution that it's a state funded, not a locally funded.
We'll expect that down.
Yeah, I know, they do.
I'll make the motion, go ahead and approve this resolution.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
But with the concerns that are brought up by the residents.
All right, the next resolution. Who in the world wrote this one?
I'm afraid I had something to do with it.
Did you?
Yeah. Want me to read it, or do you want
If you want to.
I will.
I think everyone should have a copy, but you can read it.
Resolution, appoint the Landmark Society of Portland County to operate and maintain the Homer History Center in Homer, New York. The society will coordinate with the Homer Village historian on the collection of any acquisitions or dispositions the museum desires. The society will report on the activities of the museum to be presented on April 1st of each year to the mayor and trustees of the village. They want to run the museum that's next to the Key Bank, and our historian will monitor any acquisitions or dispositions. They can't do it, all they're gonna do is open it and allow people better hours to come see the museum and that kind of thing. They're not getting paid, they're just gonna operate it.
This costs the village nothing. It has been underutilized since Mr. Williams passed away, and a lot of our village history has not been accessible to not only our residents, but visitors to the town or the village, of which we depend a little bit upon tourism.
Would the acquisitions, would they be donations, or would they have a budget to
It can be,
purchase?
he has a budget.
It would go through the village historian.
Yeah, but with the village historian, it would have to be part of the village budget, correct?
It is.
If they were to acquire something, and it would have to be approved by us.
Yeah, okay, that's,
Okay.
yeah, and so they would have an annual budget that would be
They-
set up at budget time that they could save or purchase from, or would it be open-ended?
The village historian has a budget line, anything above and beyond that, come to us.
We're having our grand opening, 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. The mayor will be there to cut the ribbon even.
Well, indeed.
Looks pretty good.
I'm gonna steal that badge.
And it's been changed.
I make the motion to accept the resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Mega.
Mega, that's me. Good evening, I'm Louise Gava. I recognize many of you, I was here before, actually about a year ago. I work for the Municipal Electric and Gas Alliance, that's MEGA. We serve municipalities in New York State for electric, natural gas, and renewable energy needs. And this program, which the trustees and the prior mayor approved quite a while ago, community choice aggregation, is for residents' energy usage. And I just wanted to make sure, because I know we have some new faces on the board here, that everyone's up to speed and that you hear about what the next steps are. So I'll just, at a high level, really quick over what community choice aggregation is as a reminder to folks and or new information for new folks. So very important, I'd just like to start by making sure you all know that when you purchase electricity as the village or as residents, you pay for two things. So you pay National Grid for the delivery, which is, you know, the physical wire infrastructure, the substation, that's who, you know, how they fix for the outages, where the money for the outages comes from. So that's this top portion of your bill, your delivery. And then you pay for a second piece too, which is the supply. And that doesn't have to be from National Grid. That can be from any energy services company. And what MEGA has done since the late 90s, when New York allowed these two to be separate, is to use the power of aggregation, of a bulk purchase, to reduce that cost. So about 80% of the folks in the village of Homer do get their electric supply from National Grid, and the rest have already chosen to try to find another supplier. And so what community choice aggregation really does, in a nutshell, going fast, so you don't need to have all the gory details, is it allows a bulk purchase for residents of electricity. So the idea being that everyone in the village who's with National Grid now would be part of a group purchase. And the idea being, when in the late 90s, when National Grid separate, you know, the supply and the delivery could be separate, you just all defaulted to National Grid if you didn't make a choice. And the idea here is to investigate if that default is the best default for the village residents, or if we can find a better option. Again, using the power of aggregation. It's not just the village. In your county, the city of Cortland is also involved in this program, and I know Cortlandville is talking about it. I believe that their meeting is next week, I believe. But they're going to see if they want to continue with this program, and then other municipalities in other parts of the state as well. So this map just shows you, for your aggregation, it has to be with the same utility and in the same load zone, which is just how we wholesale power. So this green background within the blue line. So you have 3 different tri-county area here. But the exciting thing is that MEGA is bidding multiple aggregations at once, and we've heard from suppliers that that in itself is exciting to them. So even if your aggregation is only 10,000 households, you're being put together with 40,000 in a different aggregation and 20,000 in another aggregation. The suppliers see that as very exciting, so it helps reduce the price. The high level, big picture, why we do this is about lower rates. So right now, you can't, if you're with the utility, have a stable rate. So every month it goes up and down. What CCA does is it provides a fixed opportunity for a fixed rate, so you know what you're paying every month, and it should lower that rate over the length of the contract. The other thing is that in New York State, since the 90s, individual residents have not benefited from the competitive environment that was supposed to exist when they separated the delivery and supply. And so what New York has actually found is that a lot of companies have come into the market and it deployed predatory practices going after seniors, going after low-income individuals, and going after folks with English as their second language to get them into contracts that are actually not beneficial to them. And so one of the good things about CCA is that MEGA, who does this for municipalities, reads contracts, actually sets up RFPs to receive bids on contracts. This is what we do every day. We will be doing this on behalf of residents. So you're not having to worry as much about that fine print, and if they're pulling the wool over your eyes in one way or another, which again, New York State is trying to prevent, and community choice aggregation is one of the ways that they're proposing to do that. And then, because it's on your agenda tonight, in another way, CCA is part of a future vision and a really progressive energy vision for your community. We're working with the state right now to get those things to happen in better ways, but CCA is part of what's called the Clean Energy Communities Program. And I know that the village is doing that because I saw that there are other resolutions on your agenda this evening that relate. And so in future years, the state will have made some changes to the program to allow some exciting things to happen relating to renewables, relating to resiliency if there are storms, all kinds of, the state is changing all kinds of things right now that are very promising for our future energy rate reduction and resiliency. I'm not going to go through all of these things in detail except the participation piece. I just want to stress that it is a program that is everyone participates in the program unless they choose not to. That's how we get the power of aggregation. And there is a very structured way that participants choose not to participate that's led by the state and the utilities. And it's very important that MEGA follows that and we make sure everyone has the opportunity. Because the program is structured that way, and why I'm actually here tonight, we need to work on how are we going to do education in the village? How are we going to make residents that aren't going to come to a meeting, or even those that do want to come to a meeting, how do we make sure that you all get to learn about the program, what the benefits are, ask your questions, bring your bills, what are we going to do to make that happen? And how can is there any synergy that we can have with the city or with the town or et cetera. So we have to, before we can get to the next step, we have to spend a minimum of 60 days engaging in education and outreach. So before anything else happens, which, yep, I see there's, actually here, let me bring it up here. We are at stage 2. Before we can get to stage 3, adopting a local law, which has to be done to figure out how much the energy actually costs, we have to spend 60 days where we start the clock and we put it in the paper or we have a meeting and then people have an opportunity to ask questions, to call me, for the dogs to figure it out too if they want to participate, whatever. So that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about tonight. We've been doing this in a lot of communities, so we have some good ideas. Pass these around. We have a little template that we ask trustees and municipal officials to help us think about how are we going to do this. Every community has a minimum of one session where we sit down and we have the public, an open session where people can come and ask questions. I do a short presentation. You bring your bills. Yeah, if anyone wants one of those, they're not necessarily relevant to you all. That is just to help us think. If you want to see it, you're welcome to. And so I just wanted to encourage, one, make sure I represented CCA to you all so you understand it as municipal officials, and then 2, do some quick brainstorming or at least put in front of you the information on, how are we going to do this? What, do you guys all use Facebook? I don't know. Some municipalities tell me, there's 30 people in the room and they all said I heard about it on the village's Facebook page. Other people said, I all read about it in the newspaper. Other people say, well, so-and-so told me, and they tell everyone, right? Some villages have newsletters, some don't. Everyone listens to the same talk radio in the morning. It's as varied as municipalities. So I just wanted to put this in front of you tonight and get the juices flowing and say, it's unique in each community, and I look forward to figuring out what that is here and getting going on that process.
Absolutely.
So, are there any thoughts or questions?
Does this coincide or involved anyway with the governor's rev initiative?
Yeah, this is directly out of REV. So REV is the Reforming the Energy Vision. I skipped over those slides because that's very high level and messy. But so the state realized a few years back that in 20 or 25 years, it's around 20 or 25 trillion dollars to replace all our electric infrastructure. And they said, woo, guess who's going to shoulder that burden? All of us as ratepayers. And the state said, you know, that's not really a great idea. And we have these triple threats of, we have all these increased storms that are taxing our infrastructure. We have issues of, you know, the energy generating sources in our state. And New York has a clean energy standard. So there's actually a goal to have 50% renewables by 2030. There's conversations about what to do about our nuclear plants. So all of this is happening because the state is saying, instead of doing a one-for-one replacement of all of that infrastructure, let's be a little more creative. And let's try to address economic development by deploying green technologies and building our communities in a way that they're more resilient to ice storms and flooding and other things. And the first thing out of REV is CCA. And the reason is because the state knows that if a municipality is going to propose some really creative and innovative energy solution, it's going to have impacts on you all as residents. And having a fundamental base understanding, just going back to this slide, and understanding that we can make changes that will not impact National Grid, and we can make changes that will impact National Grid. That very fundamental baseline understanding needs to exist. And so CCA is a way to start that conversation at a very fundamental level.
Now, does this funnel energy from out of New York State?
So no,
Okay.
it can't. Well, it's got to be deliverable. So part of New York, we will, as New York, already do and probably will more, bring hydro in from Canada. And we sometimes bring, the grids are all connected, so sometimes we're bringing power in from New England, sometimes we're bringing it in from Pennsylvania, but really New York's goal is to localize our energy in a greater way, which is the whole point of REV, is to figure out what can we do in Homer to have your energy here, to have your jobs here, and then it's more resilient.
I only bring that up because New York State, with all the green initiatives, bringing in power from those outside states is actually against that goal because
Yes.
they have sources they use that are not green.
Well, and that's what I was actually noting, that the community choice aggregation checkbox on the Clean Energy Communities program, so where you have to have 4 of 10 high impact actions to access a grant, which I see some of them on the agenda, so I know that you guys are positioning yourself to get that money. This is the conversation I had with New York. They didn't realize that the way they structured the CCA checkbox, it actually encourages municipalities to procure the energy, not the energy, but the fact that it's green energy from Texas or South Dakota because it's cheaper. And you don't want to make your residents pay more for green energy. You want it to be the same price or less. And so there are ways to do that, but the way they structured it is incentivizing it to be another way. And they realize that now, but they didn't realize it at the time. And so they're kind of backpedaling a bit and trying to figure that out. And so we're working with them very regularly. I meet with them every third week. We have a conversation, and National Grid is sitting at the table, the state is there, and we're trying to figure out how to structure it, which you can imagine is complicated because it's like every moving piece. You know, the utilities have been asked to make money in a different way. Everyone's being asked to subsidize renewable energy and nuclear. It's like this crazy moving puzzle. So, but we're right there at the table.
I just wondered, because I went to 4 of the rep hearings last year.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's super exciting. It is a really fun time to be in New York, and I will say that California and all these other places that we think are like leading the revolution, even other Europe, they're looking at New York right now to see if we can pull this off, quite frankly, is what they're doing. They're like, can New York do this? I don't want to take any more of your time, but do you all have questions, or is it okay if the public asks questions as well? Do you all, anyone have any questions? I'm sorry I didn't do a comprehensive, this is not what I do at sessions when I'm trying to introduce the concept.
If this was taken up, what kind of percentage would our bill lower?
So, right, so it will be somewhere between like 2 and 5%. I don't know, and the reason I don't know is multiple fold. I can't actually get a price until I get data.
Right.
And National Grid does not have to give data out, your data, as a group for the village until after the village says, we think this is a good idea. And the village shouldn't say this is a good idea until they've had time to hear from their constituents and the constituents are okay with it. So it's this like,
Yeah, but no. Okay,
yep,
everything happens, yeah, we're gonna save you
Yep.
3 or 4%.
mhm.
Then when it comes into actuality,
Yep.
it's maybe 0.5%.
Right, and so the village will not actually make any decision. This is all exploratory until here. We've got a number of months yet until the village would actually make a decision. When they're actually making a decision, they have a real tangible number. Now, no one has a crystal ball,
Right.
so, you know, it's the same with any decision we make. It could turn out really, really well, it could turn out really poorly. But what I can tell you is that the market is at historic lows for electricity prices now. So the idea of, here, I'll show you a graph actually. This graph, it doesn't have numbers. But the idea of CCA is to make this orange line. And this blue line is what the utility is doing. Now this blue line is actually 2014 when we had that very big polar vortex. And people say to me, oh, that's great, you picked the year that most, you know, explains your concept. And I said, of course I did, yes, because I'm trying to make a point. And they said, what if the graph is flipped? And with this particular graph, you can't flip it because you'd be being paid to use energy, right? So in other words, the price is very low right now, so the chance of it going up is much greater than the chance of it going down. And we'll be able to do that analysis when we get the price. If the price does not look good, we will not be encouraging the village to go forward, because not only is the village, so the village is not a participant with Mega, but the county and 35 other counties in New York State and 240 other municipalities are. We serve them, we don't want to lose their business. So if we do something bad to their residents, we will be losing their business, which really holds our feet to the fire. I mean, we have integrity and honesty, we've been in this business for 17 years, but that's another safeguard for folks, is that we can't cut off our nose to spite our face. So we're gonna obviously, yeah. Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Being born and raised in Missouri, show me.
Show you, okay, all right. Yeah, and we can only know, well, the other thing I should tell you is that the structure is that you can opt out without penalty. So you can leave if you're suddenly, if this graph did flip, again, which it couldn't, but if it did, you can exit the program, and unlike the other programs right now, you don't have to pay. That's one of the things that we're negotiating, because right now when you sign up with another, I just had someone call me from a community yesterday and she said, my termination fee is $100. And I said, yeah, I know, that's one of the ways they get you, right? And our goal is to not do that, because if it doesn't work, you should be allowed to leave. The whole point is that it should work, right? And so then if it's not working, then you leave. So that's again what we can do if it's not just one individual negotiating with a company, but if it's 50,000, 60,000 individuals being negotiated with a company. What's that?
Power numbers.
Power numbers, yeah. I mean, every week, I just had a big vacation with a bunch of friends, and I shopped at BJ's to do that, because I knew it was way cheaper to buy all that beer. No, I'm just kidding. To buy all that toilet paper, at the bulk purchasing. Anything else I don't want to take up? You guys have a full agenda.
Did you drink the water?
At the lake?
No, didn't need all that toilet paper.
Oh. Yeah. Are you all set? Does anyone want any other additional materials? Like these have the steps inside. I'll send the presentation around. Or if anyone from the community wants, it just has the. Do you want another one? Yeah.
So basically,
You can ask any question, they're not bad.
I know that, thank you. We start like tonight for 60 days?
You can start the clock whenever. I mean, I would personally feel like, maybe this is okay to start the clock. I think it should be in the paper, or it's your call when you want to start your 60 days and how you want to start it. I suppose this is a public.
Later.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, it's to be discussed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can tell me what you think. I mean, you might have great ways in the summer where it sounded like what was the fireman days? Example, like that would be a great way, potentially, right, to expose, or the farmer's market might be a great way. I don't know what Yeah, so I have other municipalities that have done things like that, or they have like townwide garage sales and they have something because they know everyone is there. So I don't know what your.
Table at holiday and
Yeah.
So I don't know what your particular things are, and so how your 60 days works out is different for
It can
everyone.
take longer than 60.
Yeah, almost everyone is taking longer than 60. I've had some people that feel like they've done it in 30 and they're like ready to go, and I tell them they can't. That frustrates some. But then the attorney takes the extra 30 days to review the documents, so it's okay.
All right, great, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Okay. And feel free to be in touch if you want. I mean,
I will.
the Clean Energy Communities thing, I'm not a Clean Energy Community Coordinator, but I deal with this stuff all the time.
I
So
will.
I'm happy
Thank
to
you.
help how it makes sense. And don't mind me as I clean up.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
All right, next item. Storage committee.
All right, we visited, the village has numerous storage sites out there. One of them is about 15 by 30, of which there
What
is,
junk?
it's full of stuff. There's no known inventory, and we are storing stuff that frankly needs to go in the garbage, some of it. So we discussed this, that we need to create a committee to go through and see what we want to keep, see what we want to get rid of. But at a bare minimum, we need to do an inventory of what we have in there. We discussed this, and we think it's best that we create a committee of citizens, as well as a trustee or two, to go through that and keep us appraised of it.
So do you want trustees to be on the committee?
Well, I think we need at least one.
Volunteer? I might. I will.
You're up. You just volunteered yourself then.
Only me?
Both can do it if you want to.
Yeah,
Just can only be two.
I think two would probably be good. So, and so,
How many locations are there?
oh, let's
Three.
see, no,
Should I know?
no.
More than three?
No, there's more than three.
Oh,
Let's
that's
see.
right. I don't care.
The one that we're focusing on is on Route 11. It's the 15 by 30, and that's the one that we're mainly focusing on. So that's one there. There's one on Luker Road, which is a controlled climate, which has more of our items that can be temperature controlled. We still have stuff over at the town hall. We have stuff over at the waterworks, and we have stuff at the old fluoridation station by the waterworks.
Is this stuff or is it records?
Records.
Some of it's records.
Some of it is records.
The
They have to be
big
Some
storage
chairs.
unit is all old furniture
Artificial
that's
plants.
kind of thrown in there, and we've now paid over $8,000 to store it over the last 6 years. So it would probably, if we tucked it all out and put it out at Route 90, we'd probably make a cozy $450 on it, so. But we need to pull it all out and go through it.
Is it furniture you would use when you go back to the town hall?
Some of it,
Some-
yeah.
some of it.
Probably, yeah, but some of it is torn, stained old chairs, things like that.
That's what the inventory's gonna be.
Yeah, the inventory.
It's not just the-
No, you have to, you can't.
But we at least need to know what exactly. There may have been one that was done at some point, but who knows, it's not
It
really.
doesn't look like it, the way it's put in
I'm
there.
trying to do this.
So you're looking at doing inventory of the items, their condition, and then put it back in at the
No,
same time.
no.
Then figure out,
You're gonna chuck at the same time.
We're gonna figure out what we're gonna keep, what we're going to, what's garbage, and what is gonna get chucked. And then there might be some items that are still salvageable, but that the village decides that it's not in our interest to keep.
Who makes that decision?
That's why we're creating a committee.
Committee makes it, it's final?
But it'll also have to go through legal review too, to make sure that it is done above board, because there's certain items you can't sell for 50 cents that might be worth $50. And that's, so it'll go through a legal review as well.
Which part of the items list?
whatever is decided to be disposed of.
Yeah, with
Somebody
what we
from the
sell.
village wants to join us, I don't have a problem with it.
I'll do it, Ed. But at the same time, I again go back to the question I thought I asked, and perhaps I didn't ask it and did it only in my mind. It's kind of like when you reply to a text, you can't, and so you're going to take everything out, itemize it, put the condition, and then it has to go back in, so then it can go to review and legal to find out if you can.
Or,
Well, you can't check anything without,
right.
so it's gotta go back, yes.
No.
Well, what we're thinking about is maybe moving it over to DPW, so that the intent is to clear that locker out, so we're not paying $150 a month times 6 years. Times
So Pat, is there anything historic in any of this stuff that needs to be
We don't
looked at?
know.
we don't know what's in the one on Route 11. We don't know what's historic. We do know that in the Luther Road, which is the controlled climate, there are historical items in there.
So we need somebody from historic then potentially to help with going through this as one of the.
Martin is competent in that, so.
Oh, okay.
Martin doesn't have a location, as in, out there, the town hall, there's furniture up there, whether it's a table or a desk. I don't know what's in there, but say your office can accommodate a desk such and such a size, and there's one bigger or something like that. Until you know where you're going and what you're gonna put what in what room,
Yeah,
how can you make a decision whether to chuck it or store it?
Essentially, what we're looking at, when we talk about getting rid of things, we opened it up. There's a chair that it's an upholstered chair, it's about the color of that one over there, and it's ripped from stem to stern, and there's stuffing coming out of it.
Chuck it.
Exactly, exactly.
at the very
That's-
least, we can reduce the size of the storage area.
That's what we're talking about, Mike. We're not, if there's I can see that there's a wood table in there. We're not gonna sell that or get rid of it because we don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, as Ed showed you with the photo, it's also
I
not,
can show you some
it's
pictures.
not put in there,
Good
it's
Lord.
just, it looks like Storage Wars.
I'm sorry.
So, at the very least, we can at least organize it
You
to,
can cut it in half, so it's
yeah,
half of that.
at the very,
And there's
but
other
there's,
stuff like that.
there's some stuff that's just, yeah.
Totes and records.
Yeah, that's.
Historical stuff, you gotta keep
You
it.
gotta keep that.
Some,
yeah.
yes,
There's a record
But that right there.
yeah,
that we have to.
Now, to discuss the records, most of the records we've seen are stored in other locations, and before we address those, we will do that when we have a little bit more time, because we have to go through the MU1, which is well, you know that. So, for everybody else, it tells us what we gotta keep and for how long, and that's gonna be a longer process. But what we're talking about here in this one on 11, we don't know what's in there. And so we're gonna attack it.
I didn't realize it was put in haphazardly at the time.
yeah. The stuff that's in there as it is now would take up half that size storage space if it was put in there a little more.
And what we'll do is, we'll continue to take pictures, we'll continue to bring this forward so that everybody's aware of how it's progressing.
Good.
So I make a motion that we create a committee to address the storage issue specifically on Route 11.
We need to assign a couple people.
We'll assign Mr. Finkbeiner and Mr. Slack as the two trustees. Have them, should we have 3 other residents?
Right, great.
Is there a limit? Is how many you can do?
Actually, I don't think there's a limit, but,
Fewer is
You
better.
got a whole squad?
what we also will need to authorize is DPW to assist for manpower.
Yeah, to move it all over there.
So I think we ought to have at least 3 residents, at least. I'm all for it.
Put it in the paper or volunteers.
So we have all these people here. All right, we've got, get with Ed and Kevin after the meeting, and then Ed and Kevin can report back to us who they've got, and they can get started. We just need the mayor's authorization to utilize DPW when it's available
Yeah, and this is just for the Route 11 we're talking
Just
about
for the
right
Route
now.
11 right
So
now.
there's nothing really interesting in that one except the furniture.
Well, who knows?
Well,
That's to feed in, we could find.
we could only wait in so far. Yes.
So I make that motion, or a Fran, would that be a motion or a resolution?
I can't say too much, because technically I'm only supposed to be taking notes for Dante. So, I mean, not as the village attorney, but just someone here, you could do it by, it should be a resolution for creating a committee.
Okay. We'll create a resolution to create a committee to inventory and dispose as document the storage locker on Route 11, the village storage locker on Route 11. We'll get started on that, and then we'll get down to that when it gets back. Running a
I
second.
don't think, so I think we don't have, they don't have to be moving anything. I think we'll get it all moved to the DPW and then let the inventory process take place there.
However, we'll let them figure it
Just a
out.
matter of.
Let them skin that
possible
cat.
liability. Someone moving something.
Oh, yeah, let the DPWs do the heavy stuff.
So,
I'll second it.
all in favor? Aye. Unanimous.
So what's the final resolution? You're gonna have it moved to DPW and then inventory?
Yes. That way we can spread it out and people can look at it.
Yeah.
That way we got the strong backs moving stuff.
That's a good idea.
With the village health insurance.
So
Yes.
just to stir things up a little bit on things in Homer that need to be looked at, it wasn't that long ago that the library looked to replace all their furniture until they found out that it was all original Stickley from 1910, worth a very large amount of money. And then on top of that, the original bank in Homer, Homer National Bank, the furniture from there is in the process of being removed from the village. So it's kind of important to me, and as others I'm sure, that we're careful in looking at it to see what it is to make sure we're not giving up something that should stay here and has, because even the tattered torn chair you're talking about could be Eastlake from 1860, and it could be something that
It
was
looks like
made in
Staples from
1970.
Yeah, 1977.
You need a trained eye.
Come see me afterwards.
Yeah, you can see the pictures and see it, but I'm glad that you're on the committee.
Thank you.
So then you can tell us, because yeah, my mom would flip out if we threw out Stickley.
Sure would.
So,
So would everybody in
yeah,
this group.
I know. Very good. All right, next item.
Did we answer your question, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next item, the unified solar permit. So this is to allow people who want to put solar in to have one permit that they fill out with one fee. We did go through and review the fees that we had collected on other solar projects, and it was pretty low. Actually, we'd be coming out money ahead to use this permit. Also, part of what we did was remove ground solar, so there won't be any more ground solar in the village, because we did have some complaints about ground solar. And finally, also, if your property is subject to, it says architectural, but really it's the historical review board for the historical properties. They have to okay the location. That's basically so that people who have historical properties don't put it on the side of the roof that's facing the street.
So Hal, throw a wrench in the fan, we don't have a review board of any kind in the village that would do that. There's no local law that would give the Landmark Society the authority. The only body might be the planning board, and they would have the opportunity to review something based on its visual impact. And so the planning board may be your only mechanism to enact something like that.
Okay.
I know I live on South Main Street and have one of the oldest houses in town, and I know that if I was going to consider solar, I wouldn't even think about putting anything that faced Main Street. It would have to be facing the south or the east or something like that.
Right.
But I'm only questioning what you're talking about because right now there is no historic review board in the village of Homer.
Right, well, we can ask the Landmark Society for their feedback on each one,
Okay.
and then have that go to the review board.
Trying to pacify me.
In general, the solar has to face the south and the east anyway.
Okay. So that's great for houses on my side, but on the other side of Main Street, you have just the opposite.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the west side of Main Street, you could potentially have solar panels along the roofs facing Main Street at your house.
Exactly.
And that's why we put this in here, and that's why I'll make
So
sure.
you might revise the language then, because we don't have an historic review board per se. Pat, right?
No, we don't have a historic review board.
Would a more encompassing board be an architectural review board? Which will address the historic condition and the architectural suitability for the area?
Push it.
I would like to table this so I can get some more feedback, so we can make sure that the language is adequate to address the concerns. I think they bring up some good points, and I don't think we have it set quite yet.
So, really quick, is the issue then having I'm sorry, you're asking for clarification. So is the issue asking to have the overriding organization that's going to determine, to clarify who it's going to be, or to clarify the rules about the electric itself?
It's to determine who's going to review to make sure that we don't have somebody putting a solar panel in the front of their house.
Okay, for solar specific.
Solar specific.
It's only solar, and
Just because, can you see where if you start talking about historic preservation, planning, whatever, it goes, you start talking about then maybe the house color can be added in, and you start talking.
As I'm looking at this would be for solar only.
But to make sure whatever committee you go with, it has a very narrow scope.
Solar only. So I make a motion that we table this until we get a better.
all in favor?
Okay.
Let's work to. Yes.
Now I gotta get rid of
Easy fix for the board fix. Okay. All right, the next item is benchmarking. So the benchmarking project is to track the village's energy use so that we can try to be more energy efficient. And it basically requires us to set the level that we're at now, publish the results, and then continue to update that year over year as we make improvements. It's pretty simple and free thing for us to do. And one of the 10 possible high impact energy items that we're looking to do. A little background, there's NYSERDA has a project where if you do 4 of 10 high impact functions, you get a $50,000 grant. One of them is the solar, unified solar, which actually comes with a $2,500 no strings grant on its own. Of the 10, benchmarking is another one. Switching to LED lights, LED street lights, which is something that we're working on, is one. Green code enforcement training is one. That's coming up for you, Craig. And then there's participation in the MEGA program. But we're going to talk about that one. Electric car charging station, which we're looking into. There are grants for that. We figure that would probably be a good thing to put outside. The office is here by the green, so the people that are coming in to Center for the Arts or to downtown can charge their cars. Those are relatively cheap, and like I said, there are grants available. So we're just looking to check the box on some of these things, and one of them is benchmarking, which is good. It gives everyone in the village more data on how much energy we use and what things we're doing to try to cut down on the amount of energy used and the costs. And so this is to establish the requirements that we mentioned.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, and that's,
Did they say about how long that would take for us to do that?
no, they're gonna come down and help us do the process. CNY, planning board is gonna come down and walk us through that whole first year setup. Okay, the next item is, code officer green energy training. So there will be, signing Craig up for Clean Energy Communities Energy Code Enforcement Training Module. There would be a meeting, inspection of 2 building projects in the community, and then a training and then a notification. It's pretty straightforward. I don't think it'll be too tedious, and also it is important as we move forward into using more green energy sources. So, and it's one of the high impact. So, this is to this would be to approve and encourage Craig to complete the energy code enforcement training.
How much?
3.
Oh, free.
Yeah.
I like free.
3. 3's good, right? Any
Is
discussion?
there a time limit?
No, I mean, it's all sort of wrapped together.
I mean, for,
When's this class?
yeah, when,
It's whenever he
is it
starts the process. Yeah, I think it starts out online and they come down and meet with us, and then there's another training component that also looks like it. Probably. Actually, yeah, it looks like they come down and do the training right here for us, so.
What else do you need?
Just a vote. I need
It's an high impact item and it's free.
yeah, there's no downside to it. All right, I make a motion that we approve Craig to do code enforcement and training. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, the next item, this was requested by the fire department. And this has to do with people who get the placards on their houses that indicate structural conditions or vacancies. What's happening in the village is people are just taking them down. And that's not safe for our firefighters. And so we don't actually have a statute or a law that imposes fines for doing that. And so this would be to make it a fine.
Has he done it yet, or is he, does he have to?
Yeah, it's part of, he's got the code here. It just basically codifies tampering.
Wouldn't it fall under, destruction of property, theft, or, people's property illegally?
What's the property owners that are doing it?
Both property owners
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. So, yeah, we just need to start levying some fines for doing it.
Gotcha.
How do we determine the fine?
Well, talk about that. I was thinking 150 for the first offense, 500 for the second, 2,000 for the third.
I like it.
I'll second that.
That's harsh. I like it.
Do we have anything to?
Well, by the third time, you know, you get bored to snap up.
You have to go through the court system, then through the code officer.
Right, yeah.
Is the resolution or law been written, or are we doing just that?
Yeah, well, it's codifying the International Fire Code section, which is, I think the other, where did I put it? Right, done.
So the action item is what?
That, acknowledging that this is gonna be a new village law.
We gotta get notices and all that kind of stuff, don't we? Does the lawyer look at this?
Dante has, it was from Dante.
And so this is what he said was okay, and all we have to do is approve it?
That's what we have, yes. You wanna table it until Dante gets back?
I think so.
Yeah,
You're talking laws here, I'd like to take it, you know.
Sure.
I
thing.
I
think
don't
we
mind
need
doing a
something-
law, but, you know,
All right.
I'd like to have him here and make sure. I can look at
Plus,
it.
we wanna make sure that we, although I like the fine schedule, but we,
Well, the fine schedule's fine, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, yeah, you might want to find differently for the violations, because that solid red is a lot more important than the bottom figure.
right,
So you might want to alter that a little bit so that if they remove that red one, it's a $500 fine. Maybe if they remove the bottom one, it's not as heavy a fine. You might want to just run that
well,
with
it's
content.
reverse. The bottom one's the bad one.
Yes.
Yes. So when you see those, I mean, it's really a serious issue to remove those.
So I make a motion that we table this, have Dante take a look and come back with something prior to our next meeting, and then we can take a look
Go
at
through
it.
the process.
Somebody should explore if other communities are doing anything similar to this, so we can have some comparison.
Right, yep.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
But it's coming.
Yeah. All right, next item is. Oh, we didn't get that,
Redesigning the website.
yeah. So I sent it to you guys in email, I'll put it on the website, we'll put it on the website tomorrow morning for people to look at. It's just the request for quotes for people to submit a quote for redesigning the village website. And that's to incorporate some features, one of which is sort of an online tracking system so people can report any issues, potholes, no noise complaint, dogs running loose, not crimes, but code issues.
Water leaks, sewer
Yep,
leaks.
water, yep, oh, you got it.
Litter, garbage, curbside dumping, street plowing, street repair, dogs barking, dogs loose, street light out, street light flickering.
And so when the request comes in, it would go through the office, we would take a look at it, assign it to the department head, it would go into their area. We would also publish that on the website, so that if it's a longer term thing, like a code thing, if it's a short term thing, we're not gonna publish in noise, but. So it would get assigned to the appropriate person, and then we would track it all the way to completion, just to make sure that, people knew, all right, this has already been reported, this pothole on my street, someone already reported it, and it's slated to be fixed next week.
With the street lighting, you'd want to make sure that they put the pole number
Okay.
as part of the complaint, because that's the only way National Grid would
Right.
take care of them.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so.
And one of the other reasons we want is so that people, things take time sometimes, and people get
Right.
frustrated about it, and rightfully so. But if we put it up there and we let them know, we see it, we've identified it, we're working it, they can understand that. I know how to.
It doesn't go away till it's
It
completed.
doesn't go away until it's completed. So that also, it ensures follow through on our part, and it ensures transparency, and it also gives people an easy way to report issues that, are upsetting them in the village. Some of the other things are, you can sign up for notifications, and you'll be able to choose, I just want to hear about rec things, I want to hear about rec at school, I want to hear about rec school road closures, I want to hear about rec school road closures emergencies, any permutation of those that you so desire, all of them. You can get them via text or email. And it's also just to make it so that we can update things a lot easier. There'll be the ability to play the videos in line, so you won't have to go to YouTube to watch the videos that we record here. All of our documents will be in PDF form, so they don't download. They just open on your computer. Yep. And then there's quite a few other things. But really, it's just to make it so that it's a more nimble website for the village. centralized calendar where people can submit.
Just really quick, going with being able to put in your complaints or such. All right, just want to make sure I've got the process right. It's going to go almost like an email to someone who will then filter it to the correct department and get posted on the website? Or is it something that will get posted immediately to the site?
No, it'll go into a draft, but it'll be a database, not an email. And then it can generate an email from there.
But it's not going to be public until you guys...
Until it's been...
So we appropriate it.
Okay, I just
Right.
want to make sure, 'cause I can see that being...
And you'll also need to sign up for an account and give your real name and address when for submitting things, so that you can't just anonymously, I mean, you can still call and anonymously yell about people, but, you know, eventually, so. And this is just to get quotes from different vendors for this.
What's that do?
I
forgot. I read it.
Proposals are due by Thursday, June 29th via email, or they can drop it off. And then we'll review the proposals and make the decision at the July meeting.
Transparency is good.
Transparency is good.
So I'm just really quick, just looking for this. When do you anticipate, if you do that, then you can put it into the next year's budget for funding for changes, and thinking then, once next year's budget comes in?
No, I think we would move earlier this year.
But we have to take a look and see the cost.
Yeah, it's all dependent on the cost.
That's,
Preliminary estimates, I think this would probably run in the area of $4,000. So. It's not too bad. And the big thing is that we're trying to use local vendors for this. There are companies that do these things, but they're out of, San Diego, places like that.
I just remember one discussion, you might remember that in regards to the redesign of the website and some pushback and such about that about a year and a half ago. And the quotes of what it would cost and such, so you are quoting a much lower figure than what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
yeah. And we'll find out once we get the RFPs back.
I anticipate I think we'll get at least 6 or 7 proposals back, so. I already know of at least 3 vendors that are gonna do that work. All right, so I just need a resolution to send out these proposals for quotes. Or not resolution, a motion. Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, next up, approve William W. Wood for membership in the Homer Fire Department.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, I don't see any.
I make the motion to approve him.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, last item is, we had a resident who had a water leak while he was gone. We averaged his bill over a year, and it was $155. The bill during the leak time was $879.73. We just are looking to adjust the bill down to an average. As it hurts. Motion?
I've been in the same situation before, and sometimes that happens.
It happens.
The policy used to be that the village would adjust the water, but the sewage, we had to pay for treatment.
Right.
And I think you ran into that, Kevin. And so we adjusted the water amount to the regular amount, but I believe the sewer was kept the same.
I'm sure if we have to do whatever.
Yeah.
I am,
And then would these rates be the old rates before they increased with the beginning of the fiscal year?
I agree that because we are charged for sewer. I think that the sewer needs to remain. I am okay with adjusting the water, but
The sewer rate would be whatever month it occurred, so.
If you just took the average gallons to the new rate for the water, because that went up with the April billing, so if you did the average water to the new rates, it would be a little higher than what it would have been, but the sewer would be.
Water didn't, right?
So, I-
Water didn't go through the sewer.
If the water doesn't go down the sewer, do we still pay for it to go down the sewer? Like when my wife waters the garden in the back, do we pay for sewer on all that?
Yep.
Yeah, right up.
Oh, I'm just,
We do.
okay.
Because there's no separate sewer meter discharge.
So we're paying the sewer charge on the delivery of the water, right? Is what you're saying?
It's kind of hard to
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, you have to have a discharge meter.
We can hook your house up with a sewer meter if you want, it would be at your expense.
We used to just dump it all in the river, so I guess we're moving in the right direction.
All right, so I guess we're gonna just the water. All right, motion?
I'll make that motion. That we, as stated.
All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. All right, attorney, nothing, because officially he's not here. Comments by board members?
I'll start off if you guys don't mind. Just to let everybody know, we have received multiple complaints, and it's been an issue that we've known about at the baseball fields, foul balls coming through because of the nets issue. We did talk with Little League, and we asked them to please go and get some quotes and come back to us so that we can address this. We are aware of it, and we are moving forward to correct it. And that's where we're at right now. We're waiting for Little League to come back with some quotes and designs to rectify the problem.
There used to be nets, are they gone? Are they-
Yes, because they weren't taken down during the winter and they got destroyed. And those were nets that had been gotten from someplace else. They were secondhand, so they weren't in the best shape to begin with.
Cortland State provided those.
Yeah, and so besides being weathered to begin with, and then the snow load destroyed it. So, we are aware of it, we're working with Little League to correct it, and we're waiting for them to get back to us on it, and we will get this fixed.
Another factor also with that too is Little League wants to propose a capital project to enlarge the fields in certain parts of it, and maybe add lighting, so there could be night games and stuff like that. So there's hesitancy on getting quotes for nets the way the fields are set up now, because everything could change if they do this capital improvement project. So there's no sense in spending money frivolously that's gonna get taken down and not used.
But what would it do insurance-wise for the village if somebody injured?
It doesn't change it at all.
No, if someone gets injured, yes, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
That's what we're trying to avoid.
Right now, Tim, I think we're just talking about netting over just to make sure that the concession stand area is safe.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
So,
Second thing I wanted to cover real quick, and I'm sad that Craig left. Since our last meeting, the board or the committee that's been working to revise our lovely code book has met twice since our last village meeting, and we're probably gonna meet a couple more times, but we are getting close. We are about up to here.
Quarter inch to go.
So we are getting close. I wanted to let everybody know, and I'll have a more detailed report either in July or August as to what we can expect from there on out.
Get close to step one.
Well, yeah, let me, because we
raining
still
on
have
our
to.
parade, aren't you?
That's right, Craig rained on my parade the other day earlier, so, but, as opposed to not letting people know, we're getting there, and we'll moving through the process, and when we do that, because it is a multi-step process, it has to go out through everybody else, it has to go through the attorneys, it has to come back, we have to get feedback from the public, and then we have to continue to revise. But as far as where the committee is right now, we're getting close. And of course, we still have to do appendices and fee fine schedule. That's the two things I want. Thank you.
Edward?
Always room for you, Paul. Always room for you to come back.
No. I got Paul. I just grabbed him onto my thing. You can't take him.
I'm good.
You're good, Kevin?
The vendor that I've been speaking with currently about the LED changeout had to cancel being here tonight. He had an issue, personal issue, so he wasn't able to attend. There is some other factors that have come up that changed the numbers, so the numbers would have been skewed that he would have gave us tonight anyway. So hopefully we will have him here next month.
And he's from which organization again?
SmartWatt.
SmartWatt, and I think we'll have a couple other vendors still.
Yep, so hopefully we'll have a few that can present and give us a better idea of what we're going to do with that. And I'm also working with another organization to hopefully help with paperwork throughout the office, digitizing everything more or less. And the way she makes it sound, if things go right, it's very, very minimal cost to the village. Most of it would be covered with grants.
There are grants available for that, and also Tompkins has done that. They've digitized almost everything. There are grants available, and on top of that, SUNY Cortland students would be willing to come in and actually do from the history department.
Yeah.
So we'd be working with them, so really the labor would be free as well.
Yeah, so we really could be in good hands. And that's basically what she said, most of the cost is the labor factor.
Yep, so we would have that covered.
Yeah, so we should be in pretty good shape, and hopefully, because I've had some issues getting Kaylee's email to her, we have that resolved now, and we should have something next month.
2 E's.
Yep.
No way.
No A.
No way.
No Y? Where'd that Y even go? Where'd you throw it?
Right there.
Right in the middle? All right.
Yep.
Sorry, I grabbed
No,
it.
But,
yeah, no, I have started the process of putting together a mayor's advisory group. I have a representative from the Homer Business Association, a representative from the school district, former mayor, Paul just agreed to be on. I hate to just say it out loud, but
Former mayor.
no, I know, but a former trustee, right? And so you've agreed to be on it. I'm getting one more person. I just have to hear back from them. It'll be an informal group that we just meet once a month to talk about some of the issues and get feedback from other folks. So that's about it. I would also encourage people to come to our work sessions, which are a lot more interesting than the board meetings, because we actually do sit down and hash through all the items and talk about them. They are a little long. We did have one that was 4 straight hours. Yeah. And then the last one,
We get a lot accomplished.
we get a lot accomplished. The last one was probably only 2 hours. But we will be holding those once a month, and we do advertise those. And so those are, I think, much more interesting than this part of what we do. Not that you can't go to both, but I would encourage people to come to those.
They're held when and where?
Well, they've been a little haphazard as we're working with schedules, but one of the goals this week is to set a recurring date and time and location so that everyone knows. And it's just gonna have to be, we're just gonna have to set it. Sometimes people have to miss it. That's just the way it is. So.
You have to bring your own coffee.
Well, yeah.
Highly encouraged.
But they're in the evenings, and so.
Kevin could always donate.
And then we do need to go into executive session.
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
Discuss matters.
Discuss matters of personnel.
When is that?
All in favor?
Aye. Go.
Look, now I'm officially.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll tell Don today. I told him when he said he took the job on, he was panicking, he goes, I can't come to the